Yeah.
My dad said the other day, he's like, yeah, he goes, Ellis, huh? He goes, the flights, he goes, let's break those down. He goes, how much you want to bet? A couple of those are him going off a speed bump, catching air.
Oh, Big G. How dare you question my integrity? How dare you?
Welcome back to Oops the Podcast.
All right, lots to unpack here.
I got something for you.
Please. Julio, I don't know where you came up with that idea.
Dude, this guy was a huge turkey.
What is this, Japan? Which is one of the reasons why I hadn't told you about it.
No, and I also just assumed you were saving it for the pod if you were going to tell me.
Yeah.
Which, of course, you were.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Oops the Podcast. Julio Gallerati, Francis Ellis, Ryan, and Chris. How you boys doing? How's everybody doing in the mix? Just
quite lovely.
Chris has got some new ink.
Chris got some new ink.
New ink.
Stop,
As he tends to. Chris has got the bug.
Damn.
Uh-oh.
Chris
Are you
has
going to go whole body?
No,
Are you going to look like a samurai?
I don't know. We'll see. I'll take it one body part at a time.
One tat at a time.
Yakuza.
Yeah.
Is
Yakuza?
they're the ones. Yakuza. They're the ones that do it, right?
Yeah.
Not the samurai.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Welcome back to another episode. Francis and I both have been gallivanting, getting into all sorts of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking forward to catching up. We both had recently a sort of like, we had personal weekends that involved adventure and all sorts of stuff. I'm very curious about some of Francis's updates because he sort of caught a perfect storm of what appears to be, you know, taking a little time off of drinking in January as well as high altitude combined for a little bit of a Katrina of a Saturday morning for Francis.
Oh, man. Oh, boy.
Hear about this.
Let me tell you a couple things. I flew to Telluride, Colorado. I was going out there. Sierra was supposed to come with me. She's not doing well with Lyme disease, so she backed out.
I was wondering why she didn't go, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, the idea of a ski trip in the state that she's feeling in did not make any sense to her. And it was weird. When she didn't want to go, when she said, I can't go, I'm not going to go, but you should go, I didn't want to go instantly. It made me not want to go. I don't want to leave my wife at home feeling poorly while I go have fun with our friends.
And it was like a couple's trip too, predominantly.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
That part didn't bother me as much. I don't mind being the rogue kind of unpartnered person on a couple's trip. In a way, it's almost fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get to watch as everyone does their stuff, and you're just nimble. Yeah. You're more nimble. You're not worried about your partner at all. You're
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick.
Yeah,
But he did fall off the candlestick.
Yes,
is that right? I think I completely just fucked
There's
it up.
something about that. You're right. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack be I don't know how that goes. Anyway,
we'll save it for the end.
Yeah.
Thank
We'll
you,
do it together.
Good. But yeah, so, you know, theoretically, you get to pay for just yourself while everyone else is, you know, paying for two people or whatever. But here's the thing, dude. I flew early on, I guess, Thursday morning. I flew to Atlanta and then connected from Atlanta to Montrose, Colorado. And then it's like an hour and a half drive from there. It's hard to get out there. But at the Delta Lounge, I had a little layover in Atlanta, so I found myself the Delta Lounge, right? Atlanta is Delta's big hub.
Yeah.
So they have Delta Lounges everywhere.
Yeah, there's like a few of them.
There's a bunch of them, and I went to the one in my terminal to chill, walked right in. I always get excited to see, because they're not all the same. They're all different.
I do agree. I love it.
You go, what's the layout of this one? Like, what kind of views are we working with?
You're like, a bisque station.
Yeah, yeah.
How clever.
Dude, they had a fajita station. Make your own
That's sick.
fajitas.
That's
People
sick.
were excited about that.
That's cool.
So I'm in there, and they were right in the middle of transitioning from breakfast to lunch. So the lunch buffet was being set out, and it was fresh. You know, they were taking the plastic off the beet salad. They were putting the ladles into each thing. Everything was brand new, and I was excited to be first in line.
Nice.
I said, I'm getting first. I'm going to break the crust on the lasagna.
Nice,
I'm going to be, you know what I mean? I'm going to be that guy.
Nice.
And I'm excited as hell, right? Because I know it's hot. I know it's fresh. Nobody's been mixing things around. It's the way that the chef intended for this food to be eaten. And I get in there and I break the ground. I'm the pioneer of the buffet.
There's no Spaniards hanging on to you?
No. No.
No Spaniards for miles.
No Spaniards. No Spaniards. But
the callback to an old episode.
There was a woman behind me who, when I had finished putting the fruit salad, scooping some fruit salad into a cup, which I was going to take on the plane and save for later, she said, "Oh, may I have that?" She's talking about the ladle for the fruit salad, and I handed it to her and said, "There you go." And she goes, "This is great, huh?" And I went, "Yep." And she goes, "It's like a cruise."
Oh, wow.
I've never had the bubble of an elite, privileged experience more violently burst in my life. She likened our privileged experience of being Delta Lounge accessees to a cruise buffet. I wanted to be like, no, it's not. And I've never experienced a cruise. I've never been on a cruise, but I can't imagine it's like this. And it made me think it was.
Yeah, that was my thought.
It made me think it is like a cruise.
It's all branding.
It's just a cruise. The Delta Lounge is a cruise.
At least it's free.
All this work that I do to achieve status through credit card selection and active spending and constantly choosing Delta flights, even if they're slightly more expensive than other airlines. All of this work that I'm doing to inch forward and gain access to Delta lounges just ripping the heart and soul out of that effort by likening it to a fucking Disney cruise. Ugh.
Honey, could you get me another Jell-O? Could you get me another Jell-O?
Act like you've been there, lady.
Brutal.
Oh my God, she ruined it. She ruined it for me. The food lost its taste. The experience of being the first in line, all of it. I didn't even want it anymore. I didn't want the food. I still ate it dutifully, but I choked it down. Didn't taste good. Just sucked, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bro.
Not fun.
I know. I hear you.
But
I've had that thought before.
As I was walking out of the buffet, there was a guy who walked by and he goes, "I know what you got in your Starbucks cup."
Hilarious.
No way.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
He goes,
"Did you have chow?"
I laughed. I was like, appreciate you, dude.
Did you have food in there?
I had the fruit salad. I had the fruit salad.
Did he say anything else?
No. He was like, that's all he said. It was one of my favorite fan interactions.
That's
cool.
really funny.
It's catching on, man.
He knew.
Shout out that guy.
Phenomenal. He's catching on until you fuck it up for all of us.
I know.
That's gonna happen.
It's
that will
gonna
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's even worse than a cruise ship.
I know. Exactly.
Dude, that is phenomenal. Very good.
So that was fun.
Stuff.
But then we went out. Yeah. Then I got to Colorado and met up with my friends, and I think it was.
So you're tacking some flights on.
Yeah, I added 2 there.
Where are you at now?
I think I'm at
right
5.
Now? Oh yeah,
5 or 6.
You had texted me about this. Wait, 5 or 6? Which is it?
I'd have to count.
Okay.
I guess Ryan and I did 3, and then I added 3 on this trip. So yeah, 6. Where are you at?
I'm not doing too great right now, bro.
You always say this. You're a fucking late game player anyway.
I've only done 4. I haven't been traveling that much, but it's gonna start picking up for me soon.
We got to start a tally now so we can keep track of it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll keep track of mine for sure.
Yeah.
My dad said the other day, he's like, he goes, "Ellis, huh?" He goes, "The flights." He goes, "Let's break those down." He goes, "How much you want to bet? A couple of those are him going off a speed bump, catching air."
Oh, Big G. How dare you question my integrity? How dare you? For what it's worth, I have played it by the book. I did lose, and 100%. I had always I asked you about a lot of the questionable ones.
Yeah.
Like, does this little thing count?
This is a gentleman's game.
Counts.
Yeah. Counts.
Yeah. Speaking of, by the way, quick aside. Speaking of gentleman's game, I biked to work this morning.
Nice.
And I sort of ran a yellow bike lane light to the degree that by the time I got through the intersection, there was a guy who had stepped off the curb into the bike lane to start crossing the street because he had, by that point, the walk signal.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to screech to a halt on my bike. And do you remember how I had that interaction with the guy?
Asshole.
And he was like asshole, and I was like, asshole. Yeah. Well, I knew I was wrong. I went, I'm sorry. And he goes, oh, no. And I go, you're right, I'm wrong. I said that. And he goes, that's okay. And then he stepped forward, and then I biked past him.
Dude, come here. Put her there. That was big for bikers everywhere. What you've just done.
Bikers
are known for being a real fucking prickly bunch.
I know. I am willing to admit when I'm right and I'm wrong. When I'm wrong on my bike, and I think hopefully that lends integrity to my story of the time that I felt like I wasn't wrong.
It does, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it does, absolutely.
Well
done.
And it was nice that he wasn't mad at me because I was so vocal and effusive in my apology.
It's nice to de-escalate like that immediately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's different ways that could have gone, and you guys handled it like champs.
Speaking of, have we talked about apologies a lot? We've talked about apologizing and apologies a lot.
Mostly because of like its practical application to our lives. Like theoretically speaking, we have a bit, but it's not like.
So, have I told you my theory of like why do people not apologize?
No, you have not. You have not.
I guess it's more of a question of like what is it about being proud that prevents people from apologizing?
Well, I would say that if times where I'm reluctant to apologize, it's because I think I'm right.
Yeah, but it's for me. I have no problem, even if I know that I'm right, apologizing.
All right, but then one could potentially argue that makes your apology disingenuous.
Fine. Who cares?
No, true.
The whole point in apologizing in any circumstance is to placate the other person.
True.
And what does it matter to me whether or not I'm being genuine and I feel it?
Right.
It would matter to me if I were apologizing to my wife.
Well, because this is why.
What, some other fucking loser?
Fine, but like the person who you're apologizing to might sense that you don't mean it.
They're too stupid most of the time, or they don't know me well enough.
All right, so you're saying that if it's like random in public,
yeah,
I'm less likely to apologize to a stranger for no reason.
Okay,
unless they have a gun or something.
Right.
You know.
Right. I guess I know my acting ability. The other thing is that people want an apology so badly that if you give it to them, they're not evaluating your authenticity. They're just greedily drinking it in and thinking, yes, this is what I deserved. I was entitled to an apology. Now I'm receiving it. Bathe me in it. You are stroking my ego. You're affirming that I was right and you're wrong. And I'm happy to give that to them and then walk away and be like, fucking sucker. What a sucker. Now I've gotten them off my case by saying 2 words.
But if they were never really that on your case to begin with, then why would you even need to? I feel like that isn't always applicable.
Because assuaging people and soothing them is always better, in my opinion, than standing your ground and then walking away, having someone think poorly of you.
Interesting. Yeah, that's fair, I guess.
I realize that this is like, in a way, I'm deconstructing apologies to a potentially psychopathic level. I'm moving them. I'm admitting that I am willing to read someone and give them a feeling that I don't mean.
Okay, so this is too like vague for me still though, because like if it's just some random guy in the street, you don't gain anything by the person thinking that you were, you know what I mean? Like, because you're never going to see them again. They don't know who you are. Like in theory. Maybe
yeah.
But are you talking about like people you know apology? In which case, this is maybe dangerous conversation for you.
Yeah, but I couldn't get away with it with you.
Yeah, potentially.
I don't think I could. I wouldn't be able to. You're too smart. Let's say dumb people that we know. People who are dumb. Who are just and they're dumb to the degree that what they're mad about is dumb.
Fair.
And therefore, it's not. You have two options, right? You can try to convince them that they're wrong and argue with them, right? And you're right. You are right in your cause. Or you can take a shortcut, which is like, in my head, this is a stupid person who's never going to meet me in the middle. They're not rational. They're not a rational person. So I'm going to just throw them this little doggy treat that I don't mean, doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not selling my soul. I don't care. And they're happy, solved, fight over, I'm on my way.
Okay, fine. And I understand in the context of like, if you have some disagreement with somebody in comedy or like, you know what I mean? And I understand that standing your ground becomes a much more unpleasant endeavor than just like squashing it.
Yeah.
And being like, I'm sorry, you're right. Like, my bad.
Yeah, but I would even argue that a lot of the time when we do that, we expect the other person to do the same, to sort of meet us and
I'm
say,
sorry too.
You know, a lot of the time we'll lead with an apology, say something like, listen, you know what? I admit I might have been a little bit wrong to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the expectation, I think, is that the other person will meet your olive branch with an olive branch of their own.
It really depends on what it is. Agreed.
Let's say it's
I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. My bad.
But wouldn't you say that even there are times where when you say that, when you lead with that, it's not because you are so self-reflective in that heated moment as to instantly recognize your fault. A lot of the time, even when you're doing that, it's because you're trying to solicit a half apology, the other half of the apology from them. You want something in return.
Yeah. It's like an armistice.
Yeah. And I realize that that's the way the world works, and that's good. But if that's true, right? If that's true that you are apologizing with even a kernel of expectation that they are apologizing to, then every apology has a self-serving purpose.
I don't know, dude. I don't like it depends. I'm thinking about the time. Now, granted, I would argue that I'm a little less of a pot stirrer in my daily life than you, perhaps.
True.
So, like, I don't find myself apologizing to people who I'm not extremely close to that often. So, in my world, if I'm apologizing to my girlfriend, I actually mean it usually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm sorry, I was wrong. You know what I mean? And
will you apologize to her even if you don't think you're wrong?
No, not usually. And sometimes neither of us will apologize, and we'll just like,
see, I can't do that.
So listen, but we get over it in a way where we're like, we agree to disagree here, type of thing. It's not usually anything serious, and if it is, we're both pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but like I hear what you're saying, and I agree in the context of like, if it's going to make my life unpleasant to have an ongoing feud with somebody, I'd rather just like tuck my tail between my legs and like make something up to make them think that we're squashing it.
Yes.
Even though I still don't like them, I think poorly of them. I meant what I said.
Yeah. Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
I think, you know, you've won.
Yeah.
Even if they think they've won.
Yeah.
You know in your smarter, more elevated mind, walking away from that exchange, that you've duped them because they were so simple. And God, I mean, I guess let's play this scenario out, right? You offer that olive branch. You know what? I was wrong. I'm sorry. And you're expecting them to apologize back, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like extending a hand to shake hands and bury the hatchet. And instead of taking your hand either literally or metaphorically, they smack it away or they don't shake it, or they're like, thank you for your apology. I'm glad you see it that way. And they don't give you an inch from them. Would that anger you
it's tough, bro.
so much as to cause you to either like rescind your apology or double down?
It just depends on the situation. Like, I don't know. Like,
for me, if that happened,
I know
in that instance, I'd be like, great. And I would walk away and be like, I don't care. Yeah. Because that is not a reasonable person. Mm-hmm. They're not playing by the, let's call them unwritten rules of civility. And I should never have been in a dumb argument with them in the first place. I don't know why I expected more from them. And that they now feel satisfied. They've gotten what they want. My ego and my pride are not so injured as to cause me to escalate this. I'll just go fuck off and talk shit about that person behind their back. Right. I'll satisfy myself another way. I now know who they are. I know the core of their character.
Like it's hard to place. These are all such like different kind of situations that it's hard to like place specifically what you're saying.
I get it,
because there's like the way that you're saying it. It doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily sound like a good way to handle things.
I know.
But
I know it's a cheat code.
But not even a cheat code or not. Like, applied to a specific situation. Because I'm thinking of like different pieces of stories that you've told me or things that you've gone through and like placing some of these things you're saying, and it makes more sense once I'm doing that. But for anyone hearing you sort of abstractly saying this, it sounds like very cynical. Spring has sprung, and our friends at Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, have the best tools for some spring cleaning in your pants.
Oh,
in your underpants.
Watch out. It's time to get rid of that winter coat.
Dude, I don't know about you. I don't do that. Like, are there people out there doing that? Like, as men that you know that are like, oh, I'm not going to touch anything till summer.
No.
You should always be grooming.
Yeah, always be ABG, baby. ABG. Always be grooming. Keep it tight. Keep it right.
Manscaped are here to change the way all the fellas can take care of ourselves and groom with the Performance Package 4.0. Mm-hmm. Inside this ball care bundle, you will find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. Pretty much everything you need to keep it tight down there and to make sure that you are a competitive candidate in the modern landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you can save 20% off and free shipping with the code OOPS at manscaped.com. I got to be honest, Francis, I really enjoy the Manscaped products.
I'm a big fan.
It's a good mix and match.
They keep getting better. Every generation of the lawnmower gets better and better. The current one is by far the best.
Agreed. And it's nice to like not have to do trickery to avoid cutting yourself.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's a sensitive, delicate area.
Sure is.
And you want to make sure that you're using the right tools.
You don't want to look like Freddy Krueger's face down there.
You don't.
No.
You don't. You don't. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code OOPS at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you.
Let me give you. All right. So do you want me to give you a real example?
Yeah, sure. No,
okay.
And not even for me, just for like the sake of the conversation.
Yeah, I think this is slightly different, but this is something that happened to me, and I may have told this story before. When I was a sophomore in college, the summer after my sophomore year, I was living in San Francisco for the summer. I had a job, just an internship or whatever. And one day, I took a cab home. It was in the afternoon from work. Maybe it was like whatever, 5:30. And I got to a stop sign, right? A stop sign. We're the first car in the stop sign. The car is stopped. I open my door of the cab, pay my cab, open the door, and a biker runs into the door and flies over the door.
Oh my God.
Some guy, you know? And a crowd gathers around. I'm apologizing. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I didn't see you, right? Mm-hmm. And he's dude.
This is a crazy story.
This fucking guy was like, he's holding his like elbow and his knee, going, ooh, just a lot of sucking in air through his teeth with a little bit of wetness, you know, not like manly, like, just like a, ooh, like a 4-year-old would complain about being hurt without crying, you know, almost like he wanted one of us to fucking blow on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And, you know, he clearly wasn't, nothing was broken. I don't think he was going particularly fast.
Was he bleeding?
He had like rug burn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a couple of burns from the pavement, admittedly. You know, I'm sure he didn't feel great.
Right.
But again,
he was gonna make it.
He's fine. You know, I'm apologizing. I'm so sorry. I didn't see it. Blah blah blah. And then he like takes his phone out. He calls his wife or his girlfriend, and he's like, "I got doored on Chestnut Street." You know, whatever the fuck it was. And he's like, "I'm gonna be a little late home. My bike's a mess." And I'm like, yeah, blah blah blah. And he's like, "Let's exchange information." Right? I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure." And I start giving him my phone number and my address, and he's like, "Can I see your license to prove that I was giving him valid info about who I was and not trying to duck?" He like ID'd me to verify my.
Did you even do anything? I don't understand.
So this is that keep that in mind, right? Which is to
you
say,
weren't driving.
No, I wasn't driving, but you know, theoretically, I think you're supposed to look and make sure when you open a door that a biker's not coming. But we were stopped at a stop sign, so the fact that he was taking speed into the stop sign meant that he was about to run a stop sign. And I think bikers are beholden to the same rules of traffic as cars.
Sure are.
Anyway.
Was there a bike lane?
No.
Oh.
No bike lane. And I'm telling you, like, I'm in that I am in the back seat. I am 4 feet from the line of the stop line. And, yeah. So, okay. I give him my phone number. I give him my, I had to show him my driver's license. I'm what am I? I'm 19 years old. I'm making no money in this internship. Maybe like $200 a week. I don't know what it is. I have no money at this time in my life. A couple days go by and I get a phone call from him. And he's like, "Hi, Francis Ellis." I still remember that. He said both my names. Oh. And he goes, "It's so and so." And by this point, I had told like my girlfriend at the time, and I had told her dad, who was a doctor and he's a biker himself. I had told them the whole story, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't think you're liable on the hook here for anything. Like this is ridiculous. You probably won't even hear from him." But sure enough, I get that call, and he's like, "I'm trying to figure out how we should make this right." And I added up the cost of the bandages that I had to buy, as well as the Neosporin and the other supplies that I purchased at CVS, and as well as the cost of the repairs to my bike. My chassis was all off axis, and the mirror on my bicycle is all had to be reset, something like that, and it's going to be, $240 or something. And I was like, okay, I get it, I understand, but with all due respect, like, I don't know that I am liable for what happened. And he goes, "Okay, except the fact that you apologized on the scene, which means you admitted you were wrong."
Oh. Wow. This
and
is
I
when
go,
the faux apology can come back to bite you in the tush.
And I said, "Okay, yeah, I was just being a nice person." And he goes, "What, so you don't mean it? You're not bothered by the fact that I have scrapes and painful scrapes all over my elbows?" And I went, "Wah, wah, wah." He immediately goes, "All right, Mr. Ellis, I'll see you in fucking court." And he hung up.
Wow.
Dude, that's amazing. 19 19-year-old Francis, dude, hasn't changed a lick.
Oh my god,
that was amazing.
That's what I said.
Where, and nothing happened after that, right?
No, I then called him. I calmed down. I called him back 10 minutes later, and he picks up and he goes, "Yes, Mr. Ellis."
Oh God.
And I go, "All right, I think we can. I'm sorry again. I just got a little upset or whatever. I worry. I think I said something. I was worried that it sounded to me like the number you quoted was just what it cost you to, take your bike in for a tune-up or something like that. And I felt like I was being taken advantage of, but I'm willing to work with you." And he was like, "Well, I appreciate that, and okay, why don't you come on over to my apartment and we'll figure it out, and I'll show you the actual wounds that I have, so you feel better about it." And then a couple days later, I went to his apartment.
What the fuck?
And he had the
What
receipt.
The fuck?
He had the receipt from the CVS trip
and
the bike thing, and the bandages were I don't know why he didn't
You're
have.
like, bro, why didn't you buy generic bandages? Why are you buying the top name brand?
Yeah, exactly.
Shit, dude?
You could have bought CVS brand bandages. But he had all that, and I think I played up I was like, "Look, I'm not I was like, I'm just a college. I'm in college. I don't have much money." He was like, "All right, well, why don't you just give me $150?" And then I went to an ATM and got him the money and gave him that.
Wow. Good for you, bro. That how much of a Francis story that just was is mind blowing. The fact that at 19 years old, you handled it pretty much exactly how you would handle it today.
Probably. Probably.
Pretty incredible.
Break it down. What did I do? What is
Listen,
that?
dude, I think at the end of the day, it's funny. I think this guy's a little bitch, obviously.
Yeah.
Very clearly.
I don't know if I drove home the point enough of how much of a bitch this guy was.
This guy's a little
and
bitch.
how certain I was that in his shoes, I would not have pursued remuneration unless I had been seriously injured.
Good word. 100%, dude. And okay, so it's funny because this is what's so classically Francis about it. First of all, you're in this big public standoff.
Yeah.
It just feels like you can't go anywhere without having some sort of traffic related, just anywhere, bro. You could be in line at Whole Foods and get in a fight somehow.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So that's hilarious. Then, you apologize, you're willing to be the bigger man. You're the bigger man until the person sort of doesn't appreciate the apology, which makes you then snap.
Exactly.
Which happened. Then you're backed out. All right, hey man, I'm sorry. You just keep having these interactions with this guy. It's crazy. All of these interactions would have made me fucking want to die, dude. You're having 7. You go over to the guy's house dude, for tea and cookies.
I did.
Was like, hey, Mr. Ellis, come on in.
No.
What the fuck?
It was tense. It was tense, but
it's just wild. But
at that age, even the words "I'll see you in small claims court," I think he said small claims court.
It's scary.
Scared the shit out of me. I didn't know what that meant. I wasn't equipped at that age to everything at that age, any trouble. I think I called my parents and asked for advice. I'm fucking, does that mean I have to get a lawyer? I don't know anything.
And dude, this guy, listen, bikers, man, they're scrappy. Mr. Neosporin Receipts probably knows what he's doing. He probably knows how to fucking make your life very difficult.
Yeah.
Put a lien on your life. Dude.
Right.
Fuck that. No, and dude, listen, you ended up handling it very responsibly and you were willing to confront the situation. Listen, you handled it well, but it's just still fucking insane.
Dude, $150 at that time was
How have I never heard that?
So much money to me.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So much money. And
not having $150, dude, made me do so many. I was just running scenarios in my head of when I was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I borrowed my friend's car when I was in college to drive to work to when I was teaching tennis, and I got a flat tire and I just didn't replace it. I put the donut on. No. All right. A guy pulled over, helped me put the donut on. Oh, nice. And I was like, dude, that's really nice of you. What's your address? I'm going to send you something. Didn't send him shit. Didn't replace my friend's tire. And it's just because I didn't have any fucking money. You know what I mean?
Right.
What a piece of shit move. And then in my head, I start thinking, and I was fully engaged in listening to your story, somehow able to have this full thought process of how now I'm this like guilty, remorseful person who swears to be better moving forward. And, you know, the actions of my past do not define who I am now. And whereas you have been this strong charactered guy this whole time, you have not changed at all.
I don't know that would you say that it's commendable character? I don't think you would say that.
I wouldn't say that it isn't. I think that there's pieces of it that really are. Like, being willing to, like, fucking go deal with it is a good quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you have to.
Were you really stressed about all this?
Probably, yeah. Oh, yeah.
19 years old. Dude.
I was stressed in the days between him calling the accident and him calling me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
How much is he going to take me for? Am I about to be sued?
Yeah.
All these things.
Dude, so I have a good one. It's not
but
really.
Let me just say, sorry. You never have to apologize or qualify that your mind went elsewhere while I was telling a story.
No, but I
know, but the fact that you said that is a total testament to your character, because that happens to me in every conversation I'm ever in. Every conversation I've ever had with someone, what they're saying sends me to the moon. To the moon. And I will find out like 30, 45 seconds later, oh boy, I haven't heard a word in a long time. And like, then I'm like, is there enough left in what they're saying for me to get the gist? And then add a qualifying question to pretend like I got it all? That's every conversation I have, dude. Unfortunately. Buddy, old boy, old pal. Let me tell you something. Being away from home, I find that the single most disorienting, unmooring reality that I have to face is that I have to go out and forage for a decent cup of coffee.
You gotta start bringing it with you, dude. Brooklyn Row on the go.
B-row on the go. Yeah, but you never know if they're gonna have in the home that you're in, you know, a nice grinder and a nice way to make it.
That's true.
And so, you know, I'm out there in Telluride. I'm walking and I'm putting boots on, coats, and trying to find a cup of coffee and bringing them back to the house. My hands are freezing, and that was when I said to myself, "By God, I wish I were home right now with my beautiful tin of Brooklyn Roasting Company Oops beans and our nice coffee machine to make my cup the way I love it."
Hell to the yeah.
That's when I changed my flight.
To the yeah.
Yeah. Guys, we're huge fans of our coffee at Brooklyn Roasting Company. The best roasters in all of New York City, perhaps the entire country, to be honest with you. We have our own coffee, the Oops Beans. Go to brooklynroasting.com right now. Use promo code Oops Beans for 5% off. Get yourself a few tins of our coffee. Try some of the other ones they have. They're known throughout the land. brooklynroasting.com. Promo code Oops Beans.
Dude, my dad will like do that. He like doesn't always like listen to what I'm saying. Like I'm not like calling him a bad listener. He just like sometimes doesn't listen. And it's so funny because I'll say something. He's kind of like, yeah. And then I'll ask something that needs like a real response. I'll be like, so what time are you coming over? And he just goes, yeah, man. Like, he's just fully not listening.
Then he's not great at it.
Yeah.
Because he's not even hearing the question.
No,
see, like I would improvise. I would hear the question and then I would improvise.
You try to like
just keep it vague, man. You keep it real vague.
Yeah, well that's yeah. Then it's funny, you start kind of like you were there, but you weren't listening.
Yeah.
But you might still remember some of the things.
You can sift
so you're
a little.
Like, they're like, so what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to go back and pick a couple things up.
It's like when, I heard vanilla.
Exactly.
I heard coffee. Yeah.
Delicious, right?
Yes. Yeah, it is delicious. No, I agree. I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Great. Dude, I do this to Hillary because we'll pick something to watch and then she will straight up not be looking at the TV at all. And I don't want to like police her, but I still want to get her.
That bothers me.
So I'll be like, I like laugh extra to try to like get her. I react extra, dude. To try to... Oh my God. Yeah, dude, exactly. And then she maybe like still won't get it. And I'll be like, man, that was really good, right? Wasn't that really good?
Oh.
And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, like what happened? And then it'll be funny to see her try. She wasn't paying attention, but she might be able to. She'll be like, the dad like moved to Greenland. Or whatever. I'm like, okay, you're good for now, dude. She refuses to pay attention.
Do you know the comedian Brian Simpson?
Yeah,
he's so good.
Yeah,
he has an awesome bit. He goes, if I'm watching a movie with you that I chose and I recommended, and we're on the couch, and you get up to go to the bathroom, and you don't ask me to pause the movie while you go to the bathroom, I hope you die in the bathroom. So funny, dude.
That is funny.
It's great.
I will pause it, and then if they say, "Oh, you don't have to pause it," I'm like, "You're not fucking watching."
Yeah,
it
pisses me off.
Yeah,
it drives me
really
nuts.
Anyway,
I didn't mean to interrupt. You were on something
dude,
there.
that's great. No, that's hilarious. I don't know why this is reminding me of this, but like a friend of mine told me a story of him getting out of a really bad situation. So this guy, like when I was older, I like I had like an extra copy. All right, first of all, let's assume that what I'm saying isn't true. Okay?
Sure.
This is just a story that isn't true, what I'm saying right now. Okay? Are you guys get what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
All right. So let's say I gave a friend of mine my ID and said he could use it so that he could do stuff.
Your real ID?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
So, and also then let's say that he were to call me and he's like, dude, you'll never guess what just happened. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, I may have like been driving a little drunk. And I'm like,
oh no,
dude,
you're not about to say.
So no, it's not, you'll see where this goes, but he's like, I'm driving a little drunk, and they are about to like, bring me in or get me to like blow a thing or whatever. And I show your ID and I'm like,
oh my God,
dude, what? What? Oh and he's like, don't worry, dude. I told them that I was like a big lawyer and that this and that, and they let me go. And I was like, gee, dude, can you not do that again?
Are you serious?
Yes, dude.
This is a real fake real story?
This is a fake real story. But this like if this were to have happened many years ago, but I was like, what the fuck, dude? I know.
I don't even understand that person. I don't get that.
Yeah.
None of that makes any sense to me. First of all, let's break that down. There's so much to unpack there.
I may have fucked up. I actually don't think that they were driving drunk. I think they like got into some like
that makes more sense
public
to me.
drunkenness thing.
And they were trying to prove that they were 21.
Yes.
And therefore there's like it's okay that I've had drinks.
Sorry. Okay.
That actually does.
That's a much better story too.
Yeah, because you're not getting hit with a DUI.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
What do you mean I have a DUI? I wasn't in fucking wherever this took place.
Right. At worst, you're on the hook for probably giving someone your ID.
Right.
If that gets.
And can I just say I lost it or something?
Yeah, probably.
If that were to happen to me.
If they were to prove that the two of you knew each other, maybe that gets murkier. I don't actually know.
Dude.
But man, oh man,
I know.
Were you furious with this person?
Sort of, but it was a person. It was a person who's like really who's like hooked me up before. So like me giving them the ID, if I were to have done that, would have been me giving them a solid, and I didn't have maybe much to offer them compared to what they had had to offer me. So I sort of was like,
They said you were a lawyer?
Yes. A prominent lawyer or something. I'm like, dude, how did they believe that? Like, this guy, he's not like an idiot at all. He's like a smart kid, but he's not like an evil genius.
Why would that have spooked the police?
I have no idea.
Did he name drop a specific lawyer? Or just said, I'm a lawyer?
Giulio Gallerati's a lawyer, dude.
Esquire.
Yeah, dude, what the fuck?
Oh, man.
I know. Crazy.
Wow. That's a tough, that would be tough for me to swallow.
I don't know what made me think of that, but just things that were like, I don't know, whatever.
I like it.
Insane.
Well, I have so much more to talk to you about.
Dude, so,
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. We're getting the light here.
I never told you about.
I want to get to tell us. Yeah.
God.
So it's funny because it's the first thing that I said on the pod about Francis's big Saturday morning or whatever. So get us there.
We've gone a lot of different directions. Okay, so anyway, I got to Telluride. The first night, whatever, went to bed, woke up next day, skied, and then had at lunch, had a very kind of boozy lunch at altitude. And haven't really
What are we talking here? But 6,500 feet?
Talking
meters?
No, I don't know. Like mid-mountain. I think this is the highest restaurant in North America.
Jesus.
Look up Bon Vivant. BON space VIVANT altitude. It should tell you. I would guess probably like 8,000 something.
What would you guess in feet?
I said 6,500.
11,000.
What?
Wow.
11,000 feet? Holy shit.
For real?
Yeah.
Above sea level, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
I
up
didn't think
there.
that the Rockies went that high.
Seem high.
I'll keep looking, but that's the
that's what I found too.
That's
11,
the response
000.
I got right away.
Telluride?
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
Bon Vivant.
Right. All right, so 11,000 feet. We're fucking up there.
Wow, Jesus.
And this place is cool, man. I really dig this place. It's bougie as hell, but it's not pretentious in the way that like a surf lodge or a snow lodge in Aspen is. I'm with 3 of my friends. My buddy, his fiance, and then my other buddy's wife. My other buddy had to work that day, so he wasn't there. And the 4 of us are there, and we're just having a great time, ordering like bottles of wine, cocktails, and then bottles of wine. We had 2 bottles of wine between 4 of us, and a couple of cocktails. And I went in with the intention of like, the reason I want to go to Telluride is to go to this restaurant and get drunk. And
your wife isn't even here.
She's not there.
It makes you slightly more vulnerable to
exactly.
Twisting the screws.
So I don't know. That was a lot. And then I think we rode the gondola down, and because we were drunk, and I was at least. And then we went to a bar and we played darts and drank. I was drinking like Guinnesses, which I don't really like. And then we went to a dinner and had cocktails, and then they had a shot ski behind the bar.
Oh God.
And someone like rang the siren on a bullhorn and was like, shot ski time. And my friends were like, it's us. I put my name in. And I'm like, oh jeez.
Oh no.
And the whole restaurant like comes around, starts clapping, and you're like, what choice do I have? And they did. It was just like a full little boot shot of warm tequila.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I've had white wine, red wine, whiskey cocktail, Guinness. Then I was on mezcal cocktails. Then I was on like an IPA, and then I had a shot of tequila. And I haven't been drinking much.
And
I have not been drinking much.
11,000 feet.
And we were down at the base of the mountain, but that's still what, I don't know, fucking 8,000, 6,000, 7,000 feet. And then on the way home, I like smoked some weed, and I went to bed. And first of all, this was like the bedroom that I had was next to the water heater in this home, this Airbnb that we got, and it was 76 degrees. And I'm waking up every like hour or so with my mouth feeling like I've just been holding it open over a fucking steam stack. Just like I've been trying to deep throat the smokestack of a cruise ship or something. Just so dry, so just dying of thirst. No idea what time of night it is. I probably woke up at 1, 2:30, 3:30, 5, At 5, I finally gave up on how uncomfortable the bedroom was and dragged myself up, upstairs, only to learn that my buddy, who works like market hours, was already up on his laptop in the kitchen trading.
Oh my God.
And I was trying to sleep on the living room couch where it was cooler, but that was right next to him. So that didn't work. So then I had to like go find some. I ended up by 7 a.m. I was like, oh my God, I haven't felt this bad from consuming in years.
Yeah.
And I saw a toilet, and just seeing it made me rush to it and throw up.
Wow.
Throw up. I threw up, a bunch, and then cleaned myself up, took some Advil, and marginally, inch by inch, you're like, am I going to be able to put the pieces back together to live today?
The Advil is huge.
Yeah.
Truly.
And you kind of like, well, everyone's like, well, get outside, get some fresh air. Maybe that'll help. And somehow you just like dutifully put on your ski gear and you get your poles and your boots and your shit and you start lugging it and you're like, okay, whatever. Put one foot in front of the other, walk to the lift, get up on the mountain. And by the time I got up on the mountain, I was actually feeling not nauseous anymore and not broken. And I skied and I had a decent morning. But dude, something happened at around like 1:00 where my spirit broke. And all of my anxiety flooded over whatever dam I had held it with. And I'm thinking about my poor wife who's not feeling well back at home. I have waves of guilt for abandoning her to get fucked up with my friends in Colorado. I am not enjoying the skiing. I'm scared of the mountain and falling.
It's just a tough mountain to ski.
Yeah, and there was like a run that we went on where we hiked to a part of it. We hiked to this drop in, and and then I'm like, oh, I'm just surviving.
Yeah.
And my friends are all very good skiers, and I'm a very competent skier, but in that state, I didn't trust my ability, and I'm like fearing injury. And I'm like, man, I'm not having fun at all. I'm not having fun at all. And I just, without even telling, dude, my friends, somehow we got separated. And my friends, we had said we were going to meet at this place called Gonora Ranch or something. It's like an outdoor, they've got picnic tables and you sit in your ski gear and have beers and lunch. And, I knew where that was, and I skied down, but you have to take a lift back up and then ski down to it to get to it. But the lift that you take goes right over where they're sitting. So I'm on the lift, and I look down, and I see the four of them sitting happily at a picnic table drinking beers. And I don't wave to them. I don't shout. I just think in my mind, if I join them, I will ruin their day. There are my friends having a good time. They probably don't even like me very much. And I got off the lift and just skied home.
Oh, man.
And then I
Did
changed.
you text them or anything?
They were like, where are you? And I was like, I went home. I'm not doing great. And they all knew that I was super hungover. But
props to you for even fucking hitting the slopes.
I mean, that was a miracle. And, that night.
Miracle on ice, dude.
Went out. Went to dinner, spent a lot of money, woke up the next day, and I was just like, I can't be here anymore. And I changed my flight and moved it a day earlier and went home a day early.
Wow.
I pulled the ripcord.
Wow.
At 33. I used to do this a lot when I was in my late 20s, like towards the end of the whole fucking Hamptons Montauk share house bullshit.
Yeah.
You'd get there. You'd be like planning to stay till Sunday afternoon. Maybe you get there on a Thursday, Saturday rolls around, and you're like, fuck that.
Done.
I need to go home. I'm not proud of myself. I'm ashamed.
Yeah.
I just need my bed, and you're afraid of the traffic. You're afraid of the Sunday scaries. So you take that like Saturday afternoon train home.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Dude, okay, listen, you got to do it sometimes, Were they annoyed that you left?
They were good sports about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they knew that we're all of an age now where fortunately the instinct is no longer, come on, man, suck it up. Oh, come on, dude, don't be a pussy. Like, what? It's like, you're able to make your own decisions, and we have plenty of people here. We're going to have a good time. And then I know for a fact that the next day was like the best day of their trip. And I'm of an age where that makes me happy.
You didn't fuck the vibe up.
I wasn't wishing for them to then have a bad time because I was no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
I was very glad, and I was able to also not say, well, I bet they had a good time because I wasn't there. I wasn't that self-loathing.
Right. Good.
And I got home and needed to really balance out my energy, was not in a great place, and, was not particularly warm and kind to my beloved wife. And the next day, as an apology, she was trying to go to Miami this weekend with her friends and had put off buying a flight because each time she checked, the flights were expensive. And she was like, one of those things where you just don't do it. And it's just getting worse and worse. And I had some United credit in her name, and I called up. Oh, sorry, this is such a long story.
No,
but all these points are worth hitting.
Yeah, hit it.
I called up the number that I thought was correct for the Amex Platinum Travel Concierge.
Mm-hmm.
But in fact, somehow I just got transferred to the regular Amex travel people.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent 25, 30 minutes on the phone with someone, a woman, who was so utterly incompetent that I couldn't believe it, because I had bragged as I was on hold to get this person to Sierra. I bragged about how good Amex Platinum's travel concierge is. I was like, wait until you had him on speaker. I was like, wait until you hear how this wizard works.
Yeah, head of status.
They're incredible.
Let me thank you for being member since 2008.
They speak better English than I do. They're kind. They make jokes.
Yeah.
This person was being like, okay, let me check on that for you, and then would just put me on hold to do whatever, 4 minutes of work, and it'd be like, hey, can we add her known traveler number? She's TSA pre-check. And they'd be like, sure, 1 second. Hold. 4 minutes. They'd come back and they'd be like, okay, I think I've done that. You're like, what? That took 4 fucking minutes of us listening to that bullshit song? Anyway, finally, we think we've booked her flight using the United credit, and we could only book one leg of it because the credit didn't cover the back end. And then even the front leg down was only half of the remaining credit. And somehow, after booking the flight, as we thought we had, the woman lets me know, Mr. Ellis, just want to make sure you're aware, right, that as we talked about it, you've now forfeited the remainder of your flight credit. And I said, what? And she was like, yes, I said that to you and you agreed to it. And I was like, no fucking shot. I would never have done that. And she was like, okay, but
why would you have done that?
She seemed to think that she had told me. My guess is that that's what the flight airline somehow said in a bylaw, and she was just reading that to me, but she had never said that. And I was like, this is nuts. I'm sorry. I pulled a bit of a Karen move. I was like, I'm getting a little confused.
Supervisor.
Is there any chance I can talk to a supervisor? She was like, no problem. Then we went on hold for that. And I get someone else, and they're like, oh no, that woman came back on and was like, I'm sorry, my supervisor's not here right now. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Never mind. And I just was like, oh, we'll figure this out. Bye. And I hung up. And then I made sure to call the actual Amex Travel Platinum.
Different number for sure.
I called it on from the card. Dude, I'm telling you, I got a human picked up instantly. No plug-in numbers really. Maybe I put in my last 4 of my social or something. This woman was an angel. And I explained what had just happened. She laughed and she was like, well, hopefully we can get your wife on the right flight and all's good.
Oh, God, dude.
She checks the travel credit. It's not gone. That first lady hadn't even booked the flight. Thank God, you know? And this woman then spent 30 minutes on the phone with us trying to find the cheapest way to get Sierra down to Miami and back. And looking at Fort Lauderdale, pricing the 2 flights separately, doing them round trip, multi-stop, flying her into Newark, flying her into other places, seeing if she'd be willing to do a stop in somewhere. And finally we were just like, we got to do it this way. It's going to be expensive, whatever. And applied the travel credits, paid the remainder on top of that, and hung up the phone. And all of that got me out of the doghouse. for behaving poorly.
So wait, but I don't understand. Wasn't the whole point of you coming back because you like missed her or something? Like, wasn't that part of it? Like feeling guilty for leaving? So why were you in a bad mood when you got back?
Because when I got back,
so
she had made some executive decisions about furniture, and had kind of like made some purchases and like said we need to move things that we'd like our bookshelves. We'd paid a handyman to install them. They needed to be moved, so it was gonna be another like $300. And I'm like, why didn't you know?
Yeah,
I don't. What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And I got mad and whatever.
Gotcha.
And so dude, the point of this is to say that me getting on the phone, the speakerphone, to navigate a travel rebooking with flight credit for her was the most flexing show off skill that I have now in my life.
Solid.
I was like, it was
very
like
manly, very manly.
It's like being an 8-year-old and knowing the girl you have a crush on is on the sidelines at recess and going out and being like, I'm gonna play soccer and I'm gonna dominate all these other kids in my class,
right?
To make her like me.
Knowing that she likes M&Ms and like being able to find like rare.
Yeah. I was like, this is my way to get back into her good graces, just to show her how good I am at dealing with like credit card travel and get her a flight that she's dragging her feet on buying because it's too expensive. And after that we were good.
Well done, dude. That's good. That's a nice tale of redemption. What a wild weekend, bro.
That took a long time.
That's all right.
It took a long time to tell. I feel like
you made it back.
So many more stories, but
yeah, we'll get them next time.
Yeah, we'll get them next time. I appreciate you bearing all those stories.
Well, we had some solid pivots. It was as always, a wild ride.
Yeah. You got Facts with Ryan. Facts with Ryan. She was flying. Facts with Ryan.
All right, so the nursery rhyme, I texted each of you.
Oh.
If you guys maybe bounce back and forth and read it.
Oh, that's
that'd
fun.
Be pretty fun.
Okay,
that's fun.
You were right too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
but there's a longer version. I'd like for you to read it. It'd be fun.
Oh my god, dude! Before we do that,
oh my god.
The second message.
Can I tell you one last thing?
Yeah.
I have to tell you one last thing.
Real quickly. I want to hear. Wait, these are two different.
The bottom one.
The bottom. Oh yeah, because you found it. Okay.
I corrected
right,
the bottom.
What's up?
Made it better.
When I got back to Newark from Colorado, I landed at 8:30 p.m. on Sunday night. Long day of travel. And I had checked my ski bags in my boot bag. And I'm waiting at the carousel.
Oh, yeah.
Waiting at the carousel for my bags, and waiting. All of a sudden, alarms in the airport go off. Blaring alarms. And in an automated voice, please evacuate out of the airport.
Oh my god.
Go to the nearest exit, evacuate. And everybody evacuated. Everybody in the whole baggage claim area walked quickly and quietly out of the sliding doors to the curb. And we all stood out there for like 10 minutes having no fucking idea what was going on. And it was scary.
Yeah.
And then the alarms are still going off. We see some employees of the airport inside not really giving a shit. And people, like mice, start kind of creeping back in. Like, is there actually anything to worry about? Like, eh. And we all kind of slowly test the waters, go back in, right? And turns out it was a fire alarm. And there may have been a fire, but it wasn't a big deal. And then an announcement came on, hey, it's the fire alarm, nothing to worry about, all good, come back. And everybody comes back in. And then 5 minutes later, the fire alarm goes off again. And this time, nobody went outside. Nobody gave a fuck about evacuating, even though it was saying the same exact thing. My bags don't come out. I'm there for an hour and a half waiting for my bags. I go to the United the desk, and they're like, yeah, due to the fire alarm, your bags are here, but you're not going to see them tonight.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So they're like, we'll send them to you. I'm like, all right. It's like, just get in an Uber, go home. And 2 days later, some random dude. Have you ever had this?
I've heard of it, but it's never happened to me.
Dude, whoever they're giving the job of returning luggage to people is like, it's a dude in an unmarked van who texts your phone number. And he's like, hey, it's Jeb. I'm outside.
I have your bags. Dude.
And you go out and he just hands you your bags. And you're like, dude, you're not wearing a fucking uniform. Like, what else do you do?
That's crazy.
Are you just some guy they found?
That's crazy.
Like, what is this? And they don't give you a time.
It's sketch, yeah.
But you're happy. You're happy to have it back.
Have your shit.
I don't know.
Insane, bro.
So that all happened.
Well, I'm glad you got it back.
It made me realize that even in this post 9/11 world, you would think that an alarm in an airport would scare people more than it does. And people just still, like, I don't know, aren't that scared.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy shit.
All right. Did we do all our
Jeff
no, this isn't even a fact. This is just for fun.
Okay.
Because, the fact is that you got it right, Julio.
Okay, thank you.
But we need to read it.
Okay.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick.
Jack jump over the candlestick.
Jack be nimble, Jack be spry.
Jack jump over the apple pie.
Jack be nimble, Jack jump high.
Jack fly up into the sky.
Skipping like a kite.
Bouncing with delight.
Every leap is leaping right.
Jack is happy, Jack is spry.
Jack be nimble, Jack jump high.
Jack fly up into the sky.
Skipping like a kite.
Jack jump over the apple pie.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick.
Jack jump, Jack jump.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
It's kind of a stupid poem. Doesn't even make sense.
I read something. The origin had something to do with it being an actual game. You jump over a candle, and you get good fortune and good luck if you don't snap the fire out.
Then you got to jump over an apple pie. Then you got to jump high. Then into the sky. Then you got to skip like a kite with delight. So there's orders here.
There's things happening.
Yeah. Well, that was the original version is just the first 4 lines, and then people added the apple pie, the kite, had their way with it. CVS bandages. A 30-pack is 12.6 cents each bandage. Band-Aids, a 30-pack is 15.6 cents per bandage. So Band-Aids are 19.7% more expensive than store brand bandages. And the Fort Lauderdale airport has 4 terminals.
Thank you, Ryan.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Gee, where can we see you performing live comedy?
Stamford Comedy Club tonight, Stamford, Connecticut.
Get it.
Looking forward to seeing you guys there. DC this weekend. I think there maybe is a ticket or 2 left for Sunday. Friday, Saturday sold out. Psyched about that. Many more dates and cities on the Better Late Than Never tour.
Hell yeah. Better late than never, folks.
We're going to be in Philly, Nashville, Atlanta, Seattle, Yonkers, a bunch of other places. You can get them on notjulio.com.
Not Julio. NOTJULIO.com.
Thank you.
Better late than never. Guys, come to the Hero We Need tour. That's me. Chicago, March 24th and 25th. I'm in Minneapolis, March 10th weekend. House of Comedy, Chicago Zanies. And then on to Austin, Dallas, and all sorts of other places. San Francisco with Little Sasquatch. West Virginia, Charlestown, West Virginia with Little Sasquatch. Tickets at francisellis.com. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon.
So, Francis, I have a question.
Shoot.
Well, first of all, I felt pretty guilty this last week. I got invited to go to the Masters. To go, which I realize is like a sick invitation.
That's a big deal, man.
I know. And, I have.
That's a big deal.
Well, listen.
People enter like lotteries for those.
I know. So, and I just have like so much shit coming up that I just like couldn't justify making the trip. And I was like, is that stupid of me? Like, but no, dude. Like,
I don't think it is.
I don't need to just decide to love golf. Like,
yeah, right.
I like it, but like, yeah. So I don't know. So I decided not to go. But I realized that I was curious about your guys' reaction to that because I know you guys are both big golf guys.
I mean,
but would you go?
I might go.
Yeah?
I might go because I know how rare it is to go.
Ryan?
I would go.
You would go?
But I get your point.
Yeah.
It's valid.
Well, whatever. I love these guys too. Maybe that was a huge mistake. Fuck. But dude, yeah, like I don't know. I just and I said I was like it's gonna be hard to be away from the missus that much.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's my new line.
You need to tell her that you turned down the Masters to spend time with her.
She's gonna be worried that it'll sound as if she is limiting me from doing things, which I understand. That like she was worried that she comes off as like serious, which she isn't. But like I get why she like worries about that.
Yeah.
She can kind of like come off as like more serious than she is.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. I guess.
Whatever.
I wouldn't have said that about her. I know her to be very fun.
Yeah. No. She is super fun. But I think she's worried about like being this. Don't worry, Chris. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. So my only question here. Chris is like, is there an ad read coming? Yes, there is.
Yeah, we were looking.
Okay. Yeah, this is so, dude. My question was about to be, when are you about to suit up and start golfing again? At what point in the year does that begin?
It's a good question. I think it's April 1st.
April 1
is when my club opens.
Okay, but if it's like nice in March, will they let you on the course? No. Gotcha.
No, because they can't let you out too early because you can fuck up the grass.
Interesting.
It needs to kind of heal and come in. If you start taking divots in the fairway, that's not coming back
till next year.
And yeah, you're really scarring the place.
Interesting. Okay. Well, one thing you're going to need for sure.
Yep.
It's a nice pair of bird dogs.
Oh. Well, I'll tell you what. I already have a few pairs, and that early spring golf, you're needing pants.
Yeah,
you need pants in the Northeast for sure. You probably should be wearing pants to play golf no matter what because it actually makes you better. Look good, play good. Anyone wearing shorts? Shorts are tough to pull off on the golf course.
Yeah, it's true.
Tough to look good in shorts on the golf course, but if you got some pants on, Bird Dogs pants especially, there has never been a better pant for golf.
It's a good pant.
Best pant for golf.
Best pant, period.
Yeah, it really is. We love the Bird Dogs pants. We like their joggers. You can rock those on the golf course too if you got a little bit of edge to you, a little swagger,
a little bit of edge.
Trying to move the game forward into the modern generation.
That's right.
And then of course their shorts too, fantastic. We love all the Bird Dogs products, especially with the built-in underwear liner. Moves with you, doesn't bunch up, makes you not have to wear underwear anymore. Fantastic.
Drake was recently seen wearing a pair of Bird Dogs joggers on the golf course.
Is that right?
No. But it might be.
Classic Drake. Classic Drake. Guys, go to birddogs.com. Use promo code OOPS. You will get a classic Bird Dogs tumbler to bring with you on the golf course. Fill that puppy up with some delicious booze and whatever you want. Keep it nice and cold.
That's right.
Birddogs.com. Promo code OOPS. Enjoy.
Chris, can you cut me singularly serious?
Yeah.
Well, today we have the lovely, ravishing Francis Ellis with us to talk about relationships. We're bucketing it to like serious, committed relationships. Why don't you tell us what you do? Because I don't know exactly what you do.
What do you mean? What do I do?
Well, like introduce yourself. Like, I'm the co-host, Oops the podcast. I'm a comedian.
Liz, you've done it.
Isn't there something else though?
Well, I do a lot of things.
So say them.
I work here at Barstool Sports. I worked here for a few years, and then I got fired, and then I came back. The old boomerang redemption story, quite the arc, hero's journey, right?
Right.
And then I used to watch you guys. I watched your rise from the seats, from the I was in the audience, and I was very compelled by what the two of you do.
Thank you.
I thought, boy, here are two gals who really get it.
Right. Well, I don't know if I believe that.
You made your name in a very Barstool way, which was set to be fearless and to push back against a gag order, really.
Yeah.
And gained the respect of the company and the broader audience, I would say, as a result of your stubbornness and your unwillingness to bend.
That's very sweet. Somehow the intro boomeranged back to us, which was nice of you.
It was good. You guys said, "Fuck that noise. We're making noise." And then you branded your own show out of a ruffled feather moment and have since experienced a meteoric rise. You're relentless in your social media commitment. I sense that your audience gains followers and people every episode. We envy your commitment to what you're doing.
Wow.
Clip this whole thing.
Yeah, you're making me feel great right now.
And I'm very impressed. Even though when I watch some of your clips, I get so angry that it's hard for me not to want to be deaf.
Oh my God.
Anyway, should we get started on that note? This thing's gonna drive me insane.
That took such a terrible turn, and it was.
There's something to
doing
twist.
so well.
I'm ready to
Tighten.
fucking throw hands today.
Okay. Well, last week we had your co-host Julio on, and
Yeah.
we talked about single rules. So this week we want to talk about relationship rules.
Sure.
So we're gonna give you 6 rules, and then we're gonna discuss them. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one at a time though. We'll go rule by rule.
Is it always this structured?
Yes.
Yeah, we're pretty structured.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, but when we have a conversation, feel free to like.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Talk
Structure is
openly.
the foundation of spontaneity. Jay
Yes.
Shetty. And that's how it rolls.
What?
That's really our
Structure.
slogan here. That's what we
Yes.
go by.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense.
It does make sense. Structure. So you structured a little bit, and that's the foundation to be spontaneous.
Like this is as structured as it gets, and then we go off.
Oh,
And then you-
I see.
You can pop.
Okay, let's do question number 1.
Then
Okay.
This is the driver of the structure.
I'm like, all right,
Who's
guys.
Jay Shetty?
Oh,
He's a life coach.
Uh-huh.
he'll change your life.
Like
Alex
Tony
introduced
Robbins?
me.
Yes, but he was a monk. Jay was for 3 years, so he kind of derives off that. Like Ed Milet's like the Tony understudy, but Jay's like his own field.
Yeah. So, by the way, when I'm not being annoying when I ask that. I know I've heard the name, so I'm not saying like who is he. I was asking you like tell me again who that guy is.
He declined to be on the podcast, so if you're listening, Jay, we'll take you whenever.
Yeah. You would actually love him. Like she introduced me to him, and my life is changing because of his book.
I don't like people that coach people on how to live.
Okay, let's go through the first question.
This is a
All
terrible
right.
guest to have on for this.
Okay. Quick side note for the first question though, should I change this to relationship versus married? I feel like it's more like prompt when it's married.
Someone
but-
once sent me a self-help book
committed.
in the
Okay.
mail, and it made me angry.
Okay, first
I
question.
felt insulted.
That's like saying I'll pray for you.
Yeah, no, I get that. Okay, first question.
No, it's like saying you don't have your act together.
Francis, you only have 50 more minutes.
Spontaneity is the foundation of
48
structure.
minutes actually for counting more specifically. Okay, first question. Is it okay to hang out with the opposite sex once you're in a committed relationship?
Yeah.
Or, I'm not done, or have a best friend that's the opposite sex?
Yeah, because to me that would mean that you probably had that best friend before you were in the relationship. It'd be like what I can't imagine you're in a super serious committed relationship and all of a sudden you meet some member of the opposite sex and they become your best friend. That's odd.
Okay, so I think we're harping on the word best friend right there. So what about good friend?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Could you go to dinner with the opposite sex?
I could, but it would probably be a wife of a friend of mine who was probably also friends with my wife.
Okay, and what about friends after you've been in that relationship? Because I get like the pre-friends because they're
Mhm.
already like grandfathered in, but what about a friend you make once you're already in that relationship with that your girlfriend or married?
Yeah, again, I think often that would be a professional friend. Like I could tell my wife, "Hey, I'm going to dinner with either one of you two. We're going to discuss an idea and we're having a quick bite." And that
Okay.
wouldn't be weird.
That's not like good friend or best friend though, in my opinion. You know?
I would consider you guys good friends.
Oh wow, I've
To
never
the
been-
degree
never hung
that
out with you before.
well, no offense, I would consider her a good
Yeah,
friend.
that
She
makes
and
more
I know
sense.
each other a little better, but only I would say, again, it wouldn't be like I'm just going to catch up with Alex. It would probably be like we need to sit down and discuss an idea that we have, or I could do the same with you.
So I think the
Not that my
answer's-
wife would ask. She wouldn't. She's confident enough that she wouldn't need an explanation, but I would give her that.
I think that's what it is. I think you owe the explanation. I think there's a little duty that falls on the friend as well to like meet. Are we
Mm.
calling her your wife?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, but you don't want me to like say her name.
You can say her name. I don't care.
Okay, well, I'll say your wife. So I feel like there's also a little responsibility that lies on the other person to be like respectful, to like meet them. You kind of have to like do that first, maybe,
Maybe.
to make them feel comfortable, or you don't care about that.
I like to think that my wife and I have established such a foundation of trust and transparency that there's not going to be behavior that will cause confusion.
Do you think there's a difference between having an attractive friend versus a non-attractive friend of the opposite sex when you're in a committed relationship?
That's a tough question. I think you have to say yes. You know,
less questions are asked if they're.
I don't know. I think it's impossible not to notice those things. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I were to flip the script and I knew my wife were going out to dinner with a guy from work, and he was some 6'4", beautiful, chiseled guy who's suave and single. My dinner's going down a little less easy that night maybe than if she's going out with some guy who's disgusting, pathetic, smells bad and is a loser.
So you said single. So does their relationship status matter? Like your girl, the friend that's a girl is married, then you have a friend that's a girl that's single. Like, will that play a factor at all?
These are all questions that I almost think would make more sense for me to ask you guys. Or you specifically, Jordan.
But we're interviewing you, Francis.
Sure, but my answer to a lot of this is going to be one of, like, we're in a very grown-up marriage at this point.
But that's good. But we want a male's perspective.
Yeah, but I don't know that my perspective is indicative of how people in your audience should feel.
You once said, I don't know which way you said it, but one, if he's not cute, like, you don't want him as your guy friend. Like, she made the argument, I'm not going to sit at a bar with a guy over a girl just to hang out if he's not somewhat attractive.
Yeah, no, I actually had this conversation with my friend last night. I don't find the need to have male friends because if I had a male friend that I liked spending time with, I would get feelings for them. And then I would like them.
Oh.
Who is single, by the way? Like, I can have.
But if he's attractive.
Yeah, like if he's attractive, I like being around him. Why wouldn't I start to have feelings for him?
And then she's saying, other than that, I'm just hanging out with girls. Like, I'm not bothering with guys, really. I would say I'm a little different. Like, I like having guy friends. But you said, like, and I thought it was very interesting, you probably find them attractive on some level, or you're just with your girls.
Yeah, which it's funny because when I was in a 5-year relationship, I did have guy friends. But being single, it's harder for me to have guy friends.
How old are you, Jordan?
27.
Okay. This is also something I think that the older you get, the more the friendship and the platonic hang becomes, it presents itself and becomes easy.
Probably presents itself.
Yeah. I just think that, you not being able to imagine having a guy friend or see the point of it, and thinking, well, any attractive guy that I kind of am friends with, how do I not start to get feelings for that person? As I said, the older you get, the more that person becomes a friend of yours because you're friends with his, like, wife or his girlfriend, or your boyfriend is friends with that guy, or you're friends with them through work reasons or networking purposes, or you respect their work. You want something from them other than sex or relationship, right?
Yeah.
It might be advice, or it might be, can you connect me with this person? Can you get me an interview at this thing? Can you, I want to hear what you have to say about, like, how did you lose 10 pounds? Like, I don't know what it could be. Maybe they're a fitness guru. Maybe you're planning a trip and they've been to that place, and you're like, I'd really love to sit down with you and hear how you experienced Venezuela, because I'm thinking of going there. There's a reason for hanging out with that person that's more sort of concrete and solidifying and platonic than let's just catch up and have a drink. We kind of like each other. Who knows what our feelings mean? Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so you would go. I think the takeaway is you want something other than, like, attraction to this person. I at this moment in my life would go to happy hour with a girl I don't know that well to see if I could be her friend. I would probably never do that with a guy. The only instance I'm ever doing like dinner with a one guy would be, yes, I wanted something from him or he wanted something from me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think of our friend that I mention often, Jeff D. And I'm like, if I went to dinner with him, it would be probably relationship advice.
Jeff D. Lowe? That's who?
He's asking me for it.
Oh.
I'm not asking him for it.
Oh.
But you know what I mean? Like that would be somebody would be gaining something from that.
Yes. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You said it, but yeah, I'm just putting it in
He
context.
wants to have a dinner with you to ask you about relationship advice.
Could be an example.
Yeah, he's probably not asking you to dinner because he's hoping that you will leave Graham and see the light that your friendship is actually more than what you realized, and that what you've wanted all along was under your nose in Jeff DeLowe.
Correct. Jeff DeLowe.
I've always called him Jeff DeLowe.
Okay, we're moving on. Ready?
Yeah, next question.
Okay, bank accounts.
Mm.
So I think the way we should format this is the first question is, do you think when you move in or get married, you should merge bank accounts?
This is a tough one. And by the way, I think the answer to this has changed a lot in the last 5 years, maybe longer. But I think societally, we for so long we were known to follow this idea that once you get married, what's mine is yours, and we open a split bank account, and I think things like prenups weren't as prominent, or they were very taboo in many years past, but so was divorce. And as the divorce rate has risen, and the call for having financial independence and self-determination in marriages has followed that, and women have realized, that by leaving my job or expecting my husband to pay for things, perhaps I'm giving up a leg of my own right and my own power, and therefore there's a little bit more, I think, siloing now of expenses. And I don't know that there's any one size fits all answer to this. I will say that we have had conversations about kind of how we want to go about it, but we were also dating for years before we got married, and all that time, we had just kind of a loose understanding of how we were going to split things, like the way that we split our rent, and the certain things that she paid for and the certain things that I paid for. There wasn't much that we didn't have an Excel spreadsheet detailing you owe me this. We weren't settling up at the end of each month. Whereas when I was younger, in my early 20s, I lived with a girlfriend, and we would kind of really track our expenses. Part of that, I think, was neither of us had much money, and we kind of needed to keep things fair because neither of us could really afford to be like, don't worry about it, I got it, and now, like her life is an investment of mine in a way, and mine hers. Like her happiness, I don't know what price I would put on that, and I know the same is true of me. And for example, I've been vocal about this, I know that right now my wife has Lyme disease and is really battling with it, and it's not fun at all. And we're trying to figure out like what sort of doctors she should see. And some of them are out of network and have, huge copays or deductibles or whatever. Like they're really expensive. And based on maybe her independent financial situation, she might be like, I don't know if I should see that doctor. And I've been like, are you out of your fucking mind? This is your health we're talking about. I will, whatever you need, you know what I mean? I will work extra. I'll take more road weekends. I'll do anything to help you see the best doctor imaginable. Whereas, on the other side, we just like moved into a new apartment and we installed these bookshelves, and like a couple days later, she decided they were in the wrong place, and that was like a $200 mistake. that I lost sleep over.
Oh.
Because I'm like, what the fuck? We have to button it up a little bit more. So I don't know why that makes sense to me, but I think there's like, I prioritize finances in a different way, and sometimes it seems arbitrary. But I don't know. I've told you a lot here. I guess my point is, right now, we have now got a credit card that we are using for communal expenses, and I trust her choices with that. And I know she's not taking advantage of me and like trying to sneak in a fucking facial on my Amex card or our Amex card or whatever. But hopefully people can kind of like work that out. I think it is a tricky thing. I know that finances are probably the number one thing that married couples fight about, I've been told.
Okay, the first thing you said that caught my attention was when he said at the beginning when you lived with your last girlfriend and you had to keep things fair. Like he said the word fair because neither of you had like FU money, right?
Yeah.
So I think in that scenario, let's take that scenario. And maybe they both the girl and the guy or both people make the same amount of money or close to. Do you think they should merge bank accounts or put a percent of that into the same bank account?
At that age, when you're just in a relationship?
No, you could be 35, but you're making the same amount. I'm saying the fair. I'm taking the word fair.
You're making the same amount of money?
Or close to, give or take 50 grand.
Yeah, you should probably. Why wouldn't it be even?
What do you mean?
Why wouldn't they both be contributing the same amount of money?
That's the question. So I'm saying, should they keep their money separate or should they put it in the same account and both spend from it? But then at that point, maybe she spends more. So then she's technically taking more from him. You see that scenario?
Yeah, I guess. That's to me, that's like, I hate to say this, that feels like a semantic argument to me. Like, what's the difference between having a communal pot of money to draw from versus keeping your money separate and at the end of the month, just like going over what you spent and trying to make it fair?
See, I would say to that, you would merge them.
Yeah.
Every time.
I feel like in this world, to break it down into simple terms, there's like three ways. You merge everything, you keep everything separate, or you have your separate bank accounts but have one bank account where you share a little bit. You like do a percentage of your paycheck.
Which I see that, I'm starting to see that more, but somebody once said to me when we were setting up our stuff, they were like, if you don't sleep in separate beds, why would you have separate bank accounts? And then I thought, okay.
Someone said that?
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. Like,
what the fuck
when I married
is that?
someone,
Who said that?
I don't remember who. It was my boss.
Person.
Yeah, it was my boss at the time.
If you don't sleep in separate beds, why would you have separate bank accounts? Someone actually said those words?
Yeah, and I thought it was a good argument.
How? How is that a good argument?
Because when you become one, then it's just like what's yours is mine. What
Okay, but hold on a second. You're talking about sleep?
Well, that's the only way to equate it, right? Like,
no.
Yes.
No, there are other ways to equate it. You could draw a more apt metaphor or analogy.
I don't think there is one because I think finances and bedroom antics are probably two most important things in marriage or a relationship.
I liked your analogy.
They're so unrelated. Let's.
I think that's super related.
What are you?
I think it's the most related thing in the world.
Yeah,
I will murder myself on this hill. I will absolutely.
Okay, a ring. If you have a ring, 2 rings on your finger, you have 1 bank account or something.
Yeah, and I think the bed is the perfect. It's not like separate couches watching TV. It's like, what's more important than sex and money in a relationship?
Yes, but okay, but here's what I think.
Oh God.
I think that it's entirely possible that a couple that has everything going for them and sees eye to eye on everything and is absolutely in a harmonious place, can, making the same amount of money and everything flows seamlessly in terms of how they pay for things and all of that. Maybe one of them has sleep apnea and restless leg syndrome and is just wreaking havoc in a mattress.
Okay, you're being way too
this is way too
Are you
literal.
crazy?
You guys were being way too poetic. What kind of weird fortune cookie shit was that?
It's perfect.
Analogy.
No, it's not. It doesn't make any sense. Sleep hours and need for sleep do not have any bearing on financial
if you share a
harmony.
bed as in love, you share a bank account.
And that goes for it. Doesn't
Is that
matter.
what you meant?
Yes.
Oh, I took it from an actual like, yo, they're sleeping in,
No, not
the
literally
sleep
too bad.
hours.
Just like it's just
Why
like,
wouldn't I have taken it that way? Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just listening too closely.
Maybe we should bring up the second part of that question.
The reason I bring this, the reason I took it the way I did is because there has been a lot of stuff lately coming out about how couples are opting to sleep in separate beds.
Oh.
And people are saying, well, is that good for a relationship
that.
or is it not? And there are couples like Carson Daly famously came out recently and said that he and his wife have been doing it for years and it's been one of the most important things for their marriage.
They probably share a bank account.
They probably do. And it sounds like they have a pretty good marriage. But that throws a thorn in your argument.
We contradict ourselves a lot.
Which is to say that
It
they
does not
don't
thorn
sleep.
in it at all.
I'm like
No thorn.
very confused.
You're taking there's no thorn in the argument because you're taking. It's the idea of like, of course, when you get married, you sleep in the same bed most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, of course you do. I don't know if they have RLS. Like, there's going to be exterior factors, but like, we're talking about the principle of like unity.
What's going on?
I didn't know that.
RLS.
I didn't know you meant that.
You
I'm
used
sorry.
restless leg. Do you have that?
I do. Okay, I was gonna say, how did you know the acronym off the top?
You knew she had it the second she was abbreviating.
I feel like, to maybe put a little bit of like a nice bow in this, it all depends on maybe the amount of money each partner makes or what works best for their relationship. It's one size does not fit all here.
So this is what the thing you said that stuck out to me, which I love this, is you're like, I would invest in my wife's happiness, or it's an investment in her.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if there's a scenario where one person has more money than the other person, like you married them, like really who cares? If you're going to die with that amount of money together, who cares really who spends more on your way there?
Yeah,
That's
you can't
really
take it
how I
with
think
you.
of it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of old school with the money thing. Like, I mean, I don't know what will happen when I'm married, but I think I'll combine.
And I'm down for even an 80% combination.
Yeah, maybe like 20% because I do have spending habits that are ridiculous, so maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
And if you want like a nice purse or something, you say, all right, I'm going to go buy that. And you're happy to. But when it comes to like buying a house or something like that, just pull it out of the pot.
Yeah, there's common expenses. There's common stuff for you guys, for your life, dog food,
grocery stores, like all that.
Grocery store shit, utilities, all of that, I'm like, we're figuring, we'll just, that come to me in a way, it comes out in the wash, I'm not worried about it. But on that shared credit card that she and I have, if I were to look closely at it and see like Saks Fifth Avenue Chanel handbag, $6,000, I'd be like, hey, how's that? How we splitting that? What's that about? It's not your birthday. Like, if you wanted that, let me know. Like, I would love to get you a present or something. Maybe it's not that. But depends how much trouble I'm in. But like but I also know she wouldn't do that.
But that is the only problem with if you do the 80-20, that's the problem. Because if one of you starts spending the 80 pot, if you start spending that 60-40, then the other one's going to be like, well, what about? And so it's like almost if you have any shared and unshared, then you're getting into who's spending more of the shared and unshared. So I think then we get sticky.
That's so valid.
No, come on, Alex. I think most people, if they're agreeing to have shared expenses to any extent, one of these, as we are calling it, like a shared pot, hopefully neither side are abusing that. And if they are, then you have a conversation. Or you shut it down and you say, look, I'm sorry, but I can't trust you to restrain yourself from using our money that we've agreed is for our livelihoods, our life. I can't trust that you're not going to be making impulse and superficial purchases with that money. And so therefore we are now going back to a more austere arrangement.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we should go to the next question, maybe, because now we only have 20 minutes left.
What does austere mean?
Strict.
Oh.
Okay. We have to move on due to time constraints.
More of a strict arrangement
No.
with the finances.
She got it.
That's because we're from the Northeast. Our schools are very good here.
Look at that.
I didn't know that word.
Yeah. We're like 47th in education.
Yeah, I'm from Minnesota. Okay.
Damn, that sucks.
I went to school in North Dakota.
We're actually 46th in education.
Are you?
Yeah. And we recently chopped the school week down from 5 to 4.
I come from Maine, which is
That's cool.
Wait, you have a 4-day school week?
Oh, that's a
Okay,
bad thing?
guys,
Oh.
I don't mean to be
Oh,
a stickler,
sorry.
but we only have 20 minutes. We have 4 questions left.
All right, let's do 10 minutes
Which
each.
means
Or
5.
5 minutes.
Oh, wait, you said
Yeah.
4?
So much
Yeah,
for
we have
those
four-
schools in
four-
the
four-
Northeast.
4 questions left. Okay, Francis,
Uh-huh.
is it ever okay to complain about your partner's family?
To your partner
Yes.
Yeah,
or just in general?
I would say to the partner.
It has to be to the partner, I think. Though I think
Yeah.
that's the way the question can make sense. I think you should talk to your friends about it if you want to.
Yeah.
But to your partner.
So complaining about your wife's family to your wife.
Yeah, I think it is. I think as long as you're trying to be respectful and there's like some kind of a purpose to it, you know, I think sometimes you have to. For example, let's say that, you know, you, and again, it's not my relationship. I love my wife's family. But let's say that you have in-laws who come to visit and they just stay for a long time. And you live in a 2-bedroom apartment in New York City and they're just there. And they're like, oh, we're going to stay another couple days. Oh, we just booked Broadway tickets for 2 days from now. Like, you guys don't mind, right? And you're living outside of your comfort zone because you now have roommates, 2 parents that are there, and you can't walk around in your underwear and you're, you know, sharing a bathroom or something. You have to be able to say, look, I'm sorry, but, you know, can we put a cap on this? Like, I don't mean to be rude, family's family, but let's solidify a date at which point we will have our home back to ourselves.
So complain respectfully, but not like bitch and moan about them.
Yeah.
What about
What's the benefit of that?
I mean, people do it.
And but does that help?
No, but I mean, the whole world complains.
What about less scenario based and more like your mom just drives me crazy, something like that. Like what if they drove you crazy because what would be an example of something that they would do?
They call the son every day.
Yes.
Multiple times a day.
Or they nag at like no, yeah.
or they make passive aggressive comments to you or stuff like that.
Belittle your job. What if the dad's always belittling your job? Would you say to her, your dad drives me crazy because he's always downplaying what I do, even though she might not be able to do something about it just so she's aware of it? Would you do that?
I think a more effective way would be to sit your partner down and say, listen, I love your in-laws. I love your family. You know I love your family. However, your dad has been sort of speaking in a way that about my job and my work that hurts my feelings or makes me feel judged and poorly. I don't feel good about it. What do you think we should do about this? Is there any way that you can speak to your dad about it? And if you're not willing, or like give them a chance to respond. And if they're not willing, then you should say like, well, then I'm going to, because I respect them enough that I want to have a very good relationship with your parents, obviously. But this needs to stop because it's bothering me and it's something that makes me feel not good.
Okay, so give them the chance to do it first or go direct to the source if they won't.
Sure.
I like that. Ballsy, but I like it.
Yeah. Okay,
perfect.
Once married or in a committed relationship, is it okay to be friends with your ex?
God, I mean, I just like, for me, I can't even imagine that. I was such a child until this relationship that every relationship I've had in the past has ended in utter nuclear devastation.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know,
I
not,
agree.
just like, yeah, in what world would one of my exes come crawling out of the wasteland that we left each other in?
Let's say you're in a friend group.
To speak to me
Like,
kindly.
Let's say you're in a friend group and you still see your ex frequently. So she's just like it's been 5 years. So just along the way, you guys have learned to be cordial. And
Mhm.
like you've kind of, I mean, you go to the same Christmas parties, same birthdays, like in that scenario.
And so you're there, and the question is, how is it okay to be friends with them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it not the case then that in most of those scenarios your significant other would be with you?
I don't know.
So what if, yes.
Like if you're part of the same friend group and you're going to birthday parties and you said, what?
Well, I
Christmas parties? Aren't you bringing your wife to that or your husband?
Maybe, but what if you're just in a relationship?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So okay. Then, and you're saying you're not bringing your boyfriend or your girlfriend to those parties?
Like, are you, I guess, it's so complicated.
I think can I have,
Yes.
let me try this.
I don't feel like I'm doing well on this podcast.
You're
and
just
I'm sorry.
You're mind fucking the audience. You're in the
Yes.
Feidelberg
Am I?
category. Yes.
I'm in the what category?
Feidelberg, where it's like it's confusing.
I'm so
you're
sorry.
Confusing me.
No, hold on. This is the scenario.
I think, unfortunately, Jordan, that my reality is very different, right? And I'm answering these questions from my own experience. But if I were to try to offer you any advice,
I don't want your
These
advice.
are
which is like, what would 27-year-old single me or
This
like?
is for the relationship people.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
single. I'm single.
All right,
If
I got that.
if you should be looking at either one, Julio was going to her. Answer it like you're talking to me.
Relationship.
Can we just? Why don't
married.
we just start the podcast over?
No,
We
I
have
think this is the question.
I'll come on for
15
another
minutes.
episode.
No,
We'll
this
do
is,
it again.
This is the question.
Do a
You
workaround.
and your ex did not end terribly. You just broke up because you both lost feelings. But every Tuesday you all went to the same movie. Okay? No, so then you're now married.
Uh-huh.
And you and your ex, like, you actually ended up having some mutual friends. And then she's in like another city and sees the main character of that movie. Sends you a photo and it's like, oh my God, remember? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, wow.
Why is that not okay?
I mean, how would you feel? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I would be like,
It's not necessary.
Hey, look, it's that that an actor, a famous actor from a movie that we saw years ago. That to me is not, hey, I miss you. I want you back in my life. Can we meet to talk?
That's a little though, like I do want to talk to you.
No,
Yeah.
it's not, Alex.
Yeah,
It's slightly.
You don't need to send the text. Like, I don't text people I don't want to talk to unless it's work related.
You really don't. I mean, she's phenomenally good at it.
I think that you know when you're stepping over the line. I think that you know, right? So if you received that text from an ex and you were like, ugh, then don't respond out of respect for your partner. But if you have no emotional attachment and you are like, oh, that is cool, that actor. You can't believe you just ran into Keanu Reeves. Fuck yeah. And you're like, that's awesome. Did you see John Wick 3? And then they're like, no, I didn't. I'd like to. You could be like, that's great. And maybe that's the end of the conversation, right? But if you're like, did you see John Wick 3? And they're like, no, I didn't. Want to come over and watch it? Then you're like, then you don't respond. Because then they have made their intentions clear.
So it's all in the wording of it. So I guess it's safe to say you can be friends with an ex once you're in a committed relationship, but the relationship with your ex has to be very benign.
You just need to keep a leash on yourself, I guess. I mean, if you're aware that, like, oh, what started as a very safe exchange about an actor that we both liked is now turning into a daily text correspondence.
No.
Then you need to be aware. You just need to, like, to me, you know when what you're doing, if your partner were to find out, would be hurt by it. You know that, right? And if you're like fucking texting with your ex and you're shielding it from your partner, or you're deleting the texts after you send them, or you've changed their contact to like dry cleaner, you know, and then your partner were to go into your phone and be like, why the fuck are you talking about Keanu Reeves with your dry cleaner?
If your wife was friends with exes,
would I care?
would it bother you?
No, because the key word there is friend.
Okay.
To me, that I just trust her.
How would you feel about it, Alex?
But let me add a corollary.
Okay.
Maybe I trust her because she's never been friends with an ex. As far as I know, there aren't exes that are playing prominent roles in her life.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you that. I don't know. I don't know myself well enough to be like.
I'm a no, by the way. I don't want my future husband being friends with his exes.
We did actually talk about this though, because you were like, I'm a no, and I said if we ever see one of his exes or my exes, the rule is we have to go over and say hi to them.
Yes, that's nice.
Yeah, and Jordan, you might not know how that will manifest either. Like you might have a husband someday who's one of his exes is from fucking high school.
That's just my thought though. We don't need to get into it.
But you're our patient.
No, I am
You're
not.
talking to the wrong audience.
I am single. This is for married and relationship people.
Yeah, but didn't you just tell me, Alex, that I'm supposed to direct it all
no,
at her?
No, you said it's directed to
Me.
her. She's married. You're married. This is about married people.
Our audience is 50-50.
I'm sorry.
Alana, you need to keep me
I feel
pointed
like
in the right
losing
direction
reins
here.
a little bit.
Yeah, they ran off already.
You're our coxswain.
She's in a relationship, so you can talk to
Yeah,
her
I'm friends
too.
with my ex.
You're guiding the
so,
boat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think hello audience. If your husband is friends with an ex and it's like, a girl that he dated in high school who I don't know, maybe they work at the same it does get a little
How about like
sticky.
I feel like when you start dating someone, you know if they have a relationship with their ex or not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a situation you sign up for.
You and I should switch spots. It sounds like
How
you're way
about-
better at this than I am.
How about maybe the question is more like you're with someone and they're rekindling a friendship with their ex before your very eyes.
I mean, that's
as opposed
crazy.
to getting into the situation and already knowing they're in the same friend group as their ex.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That
There
makes
is
me
a
feel sick.
grandfather clause, I think, to Alana's point about friendships with exes, where if you came into the relationship and you knew that they had a continued friendship with an ex, you either need to learn to make your peace with that or establish boundaries that fit you and where you feel respected and you can sleep well at night. And if you see that start to change, you got to deal with it, because I think that is a slippery slope.
That's nice. That's a nice response.
There we go.
That was good.
I
feel like that was from the heart. Like,
I've
that was
mean
sweet.
girled? I've done it?
You've
That was
done it.
sweet.
I'm a mean girl.
Okay, let's. This next question is good because this is about weddings.
Mm.
Okay. So,
What did you expect when you asked me to come on the pod? Am I doing that or am I failing?
You're taking it so literally.
I feel like you're telling us what we think we want here versus what you want to say.
No, I'm saying exactly what I want to say.
But you're
Okay.
saying it too. You keep thinking she's the patient, but we did that last week.
Maybe
Oh.
Alex should be reading the question.
Maybe
Well,
that's
we
the
can
problem.
respond back.
We just do every
But
other
also,
one though, like we did last week too. And
for
Julia
what
was
it's-
fine with that.
He's not understanding it. Respond like I'm wanting advice.
Yes.
Yeah, but
me.
I would never give you advice.
Okay, but okay.
And
Every
I only-
married person listening to the podcast wants advice.
Or in a serious relationship.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, not single girls. I'm just the prompter of the questions.
I see. And by the way,
Ignore
the only reason that I would deign to give you advice is because I know we asked for it, and we
What? What did I ever?
in our time like flitting around the office, sometimes you're like, well, what do you think of this guy? And I love
That was
talking to you about
in
guys
September.
you're dating. What's that?
I said that was in September. It's now February.
Well, sure. Okay.
Okay, next question. And remember, I'm just the person asking
Sure.
the question. Okay, so when you're getting married, are you required to have your significant others? I guess so. If you're getting married, are you required to have your wife's brother in your wedding party?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just yes. That's
what
it.
What if you don't know him at all? You've only met him once. He lives in a different country, maybe.
I don't think it matters. That's old school. I like that. You got to do it.
I think you got to do it too.
I think so too.
That's just a yes.
What if they have multiple though? Like, what if they have 4 brothers?
You got to do it.
All
you're gonna
four?
have a big wedding party. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have a
Really?
lot of groomsmen.
Did you have all of Graham's?
Oh, yeah.
Or all 2.
Yeah, I had both of them, and we had a lovely scenario because
What do you mean you had both of them?
he
His
has
brothers?
two sisters.
Oh, I see.
And then he had my brother. But it's such a special day, you want their significant other standing or their
and what I would say is, you know, what you can do is you can just opt to have your groomsmen and bridesmaids not standing up at the altar with you if it starts to swell to a comedic level.
That's nice.
Where you're just surrounded by a line of 15 guys wearing the same suit that you're wearing. Just have them walk down the aisle and then sit in the front 2 rows, or 3 and 4, so that the focus is still on you and your betrothed.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea,
I like
actually.
that was sound advice.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to invite them on the bachelor and bachelorette party no matter what. I think you do.
Yes,
Oh, really?
that I don't know the answer to that is as cut and dry as that.
I wouldn't want my brothers to go on Mike's bachelor party.
I actually, now, this is the first time I've probably seen it the other way, but you wouldn't want my brother if you were going to go to like strip clubs and stuff, because that would be like weird for him to see that, I guess. But like, I don't think I would care. No, I think you should invite them. I'm team invite the.
I think you should too. It kind of is like like you're now my brother type of thing.
It's sketchy to not.
I think most of the time they are invited, but if, to the example you gave, they live in another country and you don't have any kind of a relationship with them, you know, your bachelor party is not it shouldn't be a last chance to act like a fucking animal. That's not to me what a bachelor party should be. It to me should be a chance for your friends to wish you well, celebrate you, bond, and maybe have a last chance for you to like remember crazy shit you did in the past, to toast each other, to play, to drink, whatever. All you can act in a way where it's like, oh, you know, maybe we shouldn't be telling the stories about the time we had that crazy 3-way once I'm married. I don't know, but I don't think you should go into a bachelor party thinking like this is the last time I get to bang a stripper.
I definitely think gone are the days that bachelor and bachelorette parties are the last chance. Like, I think they're way more about a really fun guys or girls trip where you just like pop off, but it's not, because also at this age, like, you're with married friends as well. Can I ask you this though? Do you think going to a strip club is considered cheating?
Just to go watch
Mm-hmm.
and not even get a lap dance?
A lap dance, yes. You got to let
you
You get a lap dance?
You're with friends.
I don't know. I guess not. I don't necessarily think that it is. I don't know. I give that answer as somebody who truly hates strip clubs.
Yeah.
I find them fucking weird. And I find them to be like one of the most asexual places.
I fully agree with that. I think they are so asexual.
Yeah.
You can decline to answer this, but I did see somebody submit it and we were talking about it. Do you think a happy ending is a form of cheating?
Oh, fucking hell. Like at a massage parlor? Oof, that's a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's probably not something that you should be doing.
Because you don't want that done back to her.
Yeah, if my wife were going to some spa and getting finger blasted by some hunky guy.
They don't even have to be hunky.
With, weird eucalyptus oil.
Ew.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I'm not thrilled. That's cheating.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, just want to make sure. Okay, last question.
Okay.
Sorry if the wording is bad.
I didn't read. What? Do we want to ask
Lauren and I are on the
social
same
calendars?
page. Right?
No, you're not.
We're on the same page.
You're not on the same
No, she and I get
No.
each other.
Just kidding.
It's the Northeast connection.
I think the last question is more of when you're
I'm picking up
in
what you're putting
a
down more than they are,
like
but-
maybe a newer relationship. Like, how often do you have to be like, if I go somewhere, you have to go, type of thing.
Okay. Okay.
I get Alani can ask too because it was her question.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you want to ask the last one or
Sure.
word it in a way that?
I guess the question was, to what degree do you have to share the same social calendar as your partner?
Oh.
Like, family party, you gotta go. If you're available, you cannot decline. If your schedule is open to it, you can't just say, "No, I'm gonna sit this one out."
That's a really good question and a tough one. It's a tough one. What is obligatory? effectively.
Yeah.
Boy, that's hard. That is hard.
Boy.
It's hard because, there are things that if you were to say, I'm not coming to that, you would be really offending your partner. And then there are also things where, if your wife said, hey, will you come to this? You'd be like, why don't you know me better? Why don't you know me well enough to know that I'm coming off on that day? I will have been coming off of a really hard work week, or I've just gotten back from a lot of travel, and that will be a nightmare for me. You hope that has been something I think that my wife and I have spent years feeling each other out about. And I think family is much more you gotta go than other things, than social engagements. I think that it becomes tough when it's like a wedding, when it's weddings, and you're like, your wife says, hey, I got invited to this wedding. It's in California or Spain, and I'm not even that close with these, and they're not that close, but they're like, I want to go. And then you're like, fucking hell, really? And you expect me to come to Spain for 4 or 5 days, thousands of dollars, in a time, a really heavy work time for me, take vacation days to come to that with you. I think you have to kind of set boundaries to a degree. And as I've said before, the older you get, the more willing you become to say no to weddings. And man, you're also provided with more legitimate excuses for not going. Like, hey, my wife's pregnant. I'm sorry. I love you. You're my friend. I'm so excited you're getting married, but she's due in 3 weeks. We're not coming. We can't come to Colorado. We're not comfortable. Something like that. I don't know. I think weddings are the really challenging one.
Or more like kind of illegitimate reasons, I guess. Like, hey, so-and-so wants to get dinner with us on Thursday. I said we would go. Whoa, I didn't sign up for that. I'm not going to that. Like, that kind of stuff. Like, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday party on Saturday night. I told her we're both going. I'm not going.
Yeah, divide and conquer. You go. You represent.
Yeah. Well, it's like, no, you're free. You're coming.
For Alana, so I would say that there is no world where at this point my wife or I would agree on the other's behalf about social plans, especially midweek. Oh my God. I would never be like, yes, we're in, and then tell her we're going. This is the deal. That's bullying. That's like, that's straight up like ordering. You're ordering your partner to do something and surprising them with plans. That's nuts.
You wouldn't want to be Graham.
I was going to say, I did that.
But you also know him well enough to be like, yeah, I know he would be up for this. And I know his calendar, and I know he doesn't have plans. Yeah, these are our two of our closest friends, and they want to have dinner on a Thursday. Historically, we have always said yes to this sort of thing. I think it's a yes. I'll check with Grant. But I know that if I'm asked, hey, can you and your wife come meet us for dinner on Thursday? I'll say, I'm pretty confident she doesn't have plans. Obviously, we'd love to. My answer would be, let me just check with her really quick.
I think guys are way more likely to attend something. I've learned this, but if you check with them versus telling them. When I tell him, it's over. He's like, I could have gone, would have liked to have gone, and I'm just pissed off. But if I just like, hey, can you go? He's like, yeah, maybe.
Hey, boy, I feel tired.
Me too. I'm brain dead.
I was kind of that was frazzling.
It's mine.
I feel frazzled.
I feel like I just took a test.
That's what I feel like.
Come on. Listen, I'm sorry. If to the Mean Girl audience, do you guys have a name for your fans?
The meanies.
You don't need to apologize, though. We wouldn't be giving you a hard time if we meant it.
Yeah, that's
if we were like, you did so good, Francis, then you should be worried.
Oh, fun.
Because we're friends.
Yes, we are. I love talking to you both, especially around the office, and I really like you, Jordan, especially.
All right.
I do. I also find your life the most exciting.
Because I'm single?
Yeah, kinda. I think that you have a lot of opportunity.
Because I'm poor compared to you?
What? You're what?
Because I'm poor compared to you?
No, I don't mean that.
I'm kidding.
I mean that like
I'm giving you
you're in
crap.
New York. You're a young woman. You're fucking,
How
known.
old are you?
I'm 33, almost 34. Okay. And you're like, you get to use this city as a playground and for fodder for your job. What a cool thing. Like every date you go on is a story, much like Sex in the City. You're kind of living a modern version in a way. I don't know. Maybe that's too grandiose, but like, what's closer? Like if you could write a book about every date you go on, and it would be interesting what it's like to be a 27-year-old woman having a dating and sex podcast in New York City, going on dates all the time. It's interesting.
I appreciate that. That's very nice.
Because a lot of people have that experience, but they don't have a microphone. And for you to be like, God almighty, you're never going to believe what happened to me last night. I went on this Hinge date. I'll listen to that every fucking time. That's fun.
You're making me feel like I should start dating again. I haven't dated since November?
Why not?
Well,
you just lose faith?
No, I was just seeing people longer term.
Well, that to me is dating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would say you were dating.
Sorry, to me, dating is like going off one-off.
Right.
You're dating people.
Yeah.
You're not like actively saying, I give up. I'm throwing in the towel.
No,
I need
never.
a sabbatical from this nightmare.
No.
That's not what you did.
No.
Things were going well enough.
Okay, Francis has missed the last 10 episodes, but...
I have. I'm sorry.
I think yours doesn't listen.
I'm sorry. I only watched the clips. Guys, crushed the clips.
But thank you, Francis. That was very sweet.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Love you both. Truly.
Love you.
That's really nice. We love you back.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you. Check out Oops the Podcast, by the way. Jordan, we'll have you on soon. We want you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, where can people find you?
Listen to our pod, Oops the Podcast. We talk about relationships all the time. From the male perspective, you could call it a counterpart maybe to this podcast to some degree, but it's typically more based in like the male neuroses and things like that.
Okay, what are your apps?
Francis, you can find me Francis Ellis on Instagram, Twitter, all that shit, TikTok, the deal. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Francis.
Thank you,
Much
Francis.
love. Yeah.
See
Thanks,
you later.
Alana.